The day she buried her husband, everyone thought her story had ended. They didn't know God was only turning the page. At 23, Sara had just graduated from college. Life seemed to be beginning. She married the man she loved and soon welcomed their little daughter, Abby. But less than 2 years later, tragedy came without warning. One phone call, one hospital room, one goodbye she never imagined she would have to say. At 25, Sara became a widow and everything changed. The world moved on. Friends continued with weddings, careers, and growing families. But Sara felt frozen in time. She cried herself to sleep. She questioned God. She wondered if joy would ever return. Like Ruth standing in Moab after losing her husband, Sara looked around at the ruins of dreams she never imagined would shatter. Yet even in the silence, God never left. Every morning, He gave her enough strength for one more day. Not answers, not miracles, just enough grace. With a little girl depending on her, Sara knew she had to keep going. She started baking from home. What began with small orders slowly grew. There were months when money was tight, days when she wanted to quit, nights when tears fell into prayers, but God provided. Order by order, customer by customer, hope returned little by little. And like Ruth, gleaning in the fields, Sara faithfully gathered what God placed before her, not realizing that He was preparing a harvest she couldn't yet see. As healing came, Sara began writing. Page after page, she poured out her pain, her questions, and God's faithfulness. Eventually, those pages became a book, a young widow's testimony. What the enemy meant for sorrow became a testimony. Women who felt forgotten found hope in her words, and Sara discovered something beautiful. God doesn't waste pain, He transforms it. 7 years passed. People asked if she would ever marry again. Some assumed that chapter of her life was over. But Sara had stopped chasing timelines. She trusted God with the pen. Like Ruth, she had learned that God writes stories differently from people. She focused on raising Abby, serving God, building the life He had given her. And when she least expected it, God introduced someone new. Not to replace the past, but to bring healing to the future. Love found Sara again. Not the same love, but a new chapter, a redeemed chapter. The God who once held her through grief now walked her into joy. He restored what was broken. He renewed her marriage. And years after believing that part of her life had ended forever, He blessed her with another precious baby. Sara realized something Ruth had discovered generations before. God can take emptiness and fill it again, not because life is perfect, but because He, God, is faithful. Today, when Sara looks back, she no longer sees only ashes. She sees grace. She sees God's fingerprints in every season. She sees that the valley wasn't the end. And if she could speak to the woman she once was, the young widow sitting on the floor with tears in her eyes, she would whisper, "Hold on, God is not finished. The same God who carried Ruth will carry you too. He still gives beauty for ashes, as stated in Isaiah 61, verse 3. No matter what you've lost, God can write a new chapter. Trust Him with the pen. And beloved, if this story encouraged you, please do like, share, and subscribe. And know that God is still writing your story. God bless you.